All right, welcome to the Guest Bedroom Productions. Today I want to show you how I set up tracks. I'll eventually get to show you why I chose arrangement view over session view. If you want a video showing you how to do session view, if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know. Let me know in the comments. Today I'm going to show you how I set each track up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the song order 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how I do it to make it quick and easy, and sometimes it's maybe not necessarily quick, just making sure it's perfect. I can be a perfectionist at times, but I wanted a setup that I could quickly be able to do, and because I'm not full-time at my church, and it does get tiring sometimes doing tracks week after week. So this setup I found works really, really well. And it's something where once you do it, the tracks, you can easily drop it in, and you're going to see me drop them in and see that workflow. And then I'll probably piece up some parts. And if there's something that you guys really want to see on the tracks that you see that you'd like me to do a separate video on, I can. So hope you enjoy. Please feel free to like and subscribe. All right, so first track that I'm going to do is Graves into Garden. So here's Graves into Gardens, and then the way that I like to organize these is, and I'll do a separate video on how I do it, but I like arrangement, and then this is my arrangement. And because I've got this microphone on, and I'll eventually do another one, I'm just going to drag and drop this here, and that should give me everything there. I'm going to rename this as my vocal there. Okay, so as you can see, all my parts dropped in here. And then as soon as I hit play, it's got a tempo track, markers. I love these markers because the other markers, so like these markers here, you can't transfer them from track to track. And it was really irritating to me because you drop them all and then fix it perfect. And then when you load them in here, like this, when you load a large track, it wouldn't drop in like that. And so what you can do is you can actually, I usually do a keyboard. You can keyboard set this. I usually do Z. That's how I like to do that. And then you can go through if you need these. So if you're bouncing around, you can actually click on, I got to change the time signature here. You can actually click on the individual track and just click the Z. Z, and then like you're good. And that's a really easy way to do that. Okay, so get rid of that. And then what I like to do is I like to go to the very beginning, and it's usually already there. I'm surprised it's not. Go ahead and select marker, and then we use a keyboard, so I usually go ahead and map that to 1. That way when I'm going back and checking it, everything's okay. All right, so the first track's already loaded. That's pretty much the only thing I got to do there is route the sends. Now it does take a little bit of time to set up, but once you set up, you're good moving forward. The second song we are doing is Never Lost. Like I said, I like to arrange mine that way. It's easy to find. I can do arrangement, and if I ever need to do a different arrangement, I can always change the arrangement there. So notice that goes underneath. So let me highlight this, and then I'll drag this over. And I believe this is also in the same key there. And I'll just leave that there because I'll show you what I do after, because I'll do a little bit more, and that's just a fine tune. This to make it simpler and easier workflow. I should probably also say that I run keys, and so I have access to a screen, and I have a genius sound engineer, and he's rigged us up a second screen. And so typically the drums and the keys will both have access to run tracks. And the reason why I like arrangement view is because I can, for one, drag and drop really easily, and I don't have to, and I'll show you once I start routing where the audio goes. It's a very simple setup, and I think sometimes when you're doing session view, you have to make sure you put the keys here, and I'll show you the way I do it here in arrangement. I think it's a lot easier. And then plus I like to see the markers at the top go across the screen, and it helps me and the band stay organized when the drummer and keys both can see the same screen, and you'll see the dial, and sometimes it's easier to visualize if you're going into the verse, chorus and bridge, etc. So that one's there. Our third song that we're doing is So Will I, and I may not have an arrangement for this one. Okay, sweet, I do. Sometimes I don't have the arrangement, and then I'd have to stop and go back through. So you can just shift and select that the second you drop it in. Just drag this over. So this one is in 4/4, the other two are in 6/8. I'll have to change the tempo. So I'm gonna drop this right here. I'm gonna go ahead and insert new time signature. And then we'll just go ahead and select all these. And just move it to center. Okay. So that's 3 tracks there. And then last one we're doing is Place of Freedom. I don't think I have a track, so let me see what I did. Sometimes I'll make my own tracks, and sometimes I just don't feel like we need an entire track. And so in those instances, I just have like a pad and click, which is exactly what this is. And sometimes, a lot of times, that's all you need, and it works fine. Looks like I made that a little bit too long there, but that's all right. I don't know why there we go. And then let's go ahead and MIDI map these. And then we're doing a 4th song for altar call or response. Some call it different. That one is called okay, and I do have an arrangement for that one. And you'll see I do all my tracks the same way. I also like to color code them the same way. Looks like I don't have drums on this one. This is a very simple track, so we'll probably just go click. So even though I have tracks for everything, we don't use all the tracks. I like to have the tracks just go ahead and ready in case we need to listen to the tracks. So you're in practice. Usually we'll run through everything in the morning before service, and so it's nice to be able to listen to a keys part if you need to in that certain section. Okay, so now that this is up, what I do next, so all the tracks are loaded in this session. I'm gonna go ahead and save as, because they're still saved as the other one. And I've got 2 SSDs, which is critical to have SSD for your tracks. And I'll go to arrangements, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put tomorrow's date. It's just the 28th. And then it's going to save that, and then I always do collect all and save right here. Okay. So you just saw I've uploaded everything. What I do here is sometimes, and I've recently started doing this a different way, but basically I'm going to put my markers and I'm going to write what the song is. So this is Graves into Gardens. Actually what I like to do is, and you can do Command R, but I like to go and put 1 and then move this all the way up. And then what I do for the second song, so I've not always named them on the markers here, but we're going to put Never Lost here. Actually, no, we're going to put number 2, Never Lost. And then I used to put the keys, and I can't remember what keys these are in, so I've got it listed over here when I do it. Actually, Command Z that real quick. Command D will duplicate that, and then I'll just drag it to the top. So that's usually what I do there. And then you can probably see what I'm doing here, and I'll show you why here in just a second. I know that one's in C, so we're just going to go ahead and, I did the same thing again. Command D will duplicate that, and then we'll drag the duplicated one to the very top. Okay, we'll do the same thing for number 4. I don't have it for number 4, so sometimes I'll just go ahead and okay, so I'm using a stabilizer. It's not the best thing you've got, but that's all I had, and it looks like it has died here. So I'm going to go the rest of this video without you seeing. Oh no, we're back. We're good. Don't know what that was. It just like I looked over and it had fell. Okay, let's drag this back here. And then I already know that one's in D there. So then click it, Command D, that's going to duplicate it and drag this to the top. May call this video how to organize your set for live worship in arrangement view. And I've got a different thing that I've done in session view. I was super excited about it because the setup that I had there was going to be a super setup to where if you have a church and you only do 30 songs for a quarter, then that entire quarter you wouldn't have to touch anything on your machine, and you'd just have this master template, and it would have been amazing because you'd never have to do anything other than just map your song. But it didn't work well for us. For one, we did a little bit more songs than that, and sometimes we like to throw new songs in more often than I'd like to. Then I'd like to go back and add new things in, and then plus not being able to visualize and see where you're at through the whole time, and it was just a lot more complicated because you can do scene triggers to where it'll like show you where you're going next, but I like the bar that goes through. And so if you guys are interested in the session view, and just let me know. And this one's going to be 5. And then Command D, drag that to the top here. Come on now. All right, so what's cool about this is we can now, here's the first part right here. And you guys should be able to hear all that. Then go to 2.
2.
And you can see my markers at the top for every song. You can see where we are. And I love to be able to see that, and that's what we see. Now sometimes we will set these up. I love to do loops a lot of times, especially for the intro. But you can set all these up, and you can MIDI map that. So MIDI map and just easily do that for all of them if that's what you guys feel like to do. Well, so you can basically go through here, do that for all of them, and it's super simple, just for simple sake. And then that way, so you can jump around, and if you need to do a bridge again, you can do a bridge again. If you need to do so, like it would be like a bridge.
2.
And if you got 1 bar, you can go 2 bars, etc. So, and then we missed the bridge, so we're gonna go back to it, and then we go back to the bridge.
2.
And then
3.
We're back in.
4.
But I do this for each one, so that way whenever you click it, you kind of know where you're at on the song. And then plus it's also easier when I'm actually perform on there. All I have on the side screen is this. So for me, it's also my paper, because I usually try to avoid using chord charts in front of me, and so it'll tell me the key to and what song we're doing in next, and it just helps keep me organized. Okay, so how I set this up for live performance. So let's go ahead and cut that out. What I do is I go up to here, and you can do Shift Command T. I'm sorry, Shift Command T. I believe so. I believe that's Shift Command, or maybe it's Alt Command T. Yeah, Alt Command T, and that's going to give returns. So the colors, I still set these up. So white is my click, blues my percussion, and you don't have to do all the colors, and you could be just fine, but it just helps me organize everything. And so then you can just go up here, rename. So click, God, perk, guitar, and then this is keys, and then Vox. And what we do is we separate. So the click guide's going to come out of a different channel, and then our percussion, guitar, keys, and Vox are all going to come out of separate channels. So I accidentally got us cut off there. So I've already done all the tracking and sends. So let me show you what I did. So you saw where I set up each one there for these returns. If you go here, so basically what I did was I selected that, went to the left, shift, hold, and then you can send it through A, and A is in click guide. And then I went to drums, and I did the same thing as I clicked drums, hit shift, and then B, which is percussion, and I did that for each one. Basically that allows us to where we can go to extension out, and it will give us, let me go back to master there. So you can do extension out, and we do it separate, and I may have already mentioned this already. I had to redo the video, so I'm just basically talking you through it. And you basically assign the sends to each one, and then it really helps to where you can send out your percussion to a different one. If I only had two outputs, one for click guide and one for band, you could do the same thing, and in fact it'd probably be easier. And you just do one the same, and you do the same thing there. So that's how I do that. And you guys should still hear this. We can go here. I mentioned earlier about my music director in Caltro. Let me go to a 4/4 song here. What I like to do is when you're jumping back and forth, so let's go right here. So let's say that, so we just did this long instrumental, and we're going into the bridge here, and let's say that we missed the bridge. So listen.
Bridge, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so we just missed it. You can actually set up a MIDI controller or click it however you need,
Bridge,
and you can go back to
2,
it,
3,
which is really, really
4.
nice there. And then you can change how many bars if you want to do a half a bar, just because.
Bridge, 2,
and it'll always
3,
do it in
4.
timing. With you having full band, it won't sound as much as it does here. And we don't use all these instruments. We'll usually cut out the drums, the bass, almost never use the bass, and so we'll cut out a lot of these instruments. Sometimes we cut out all of them and just run click and guide, but I like to leave the drums and stuff in there, because if there's a part that we want to listen to on a solo, on the way they played that, so like if I wanted to see how you listen to full band again. So that's the reason why I leave those in. And what I'll do next is I will I'll collect all save. And we have a computer at our church that it's on a network that I can we've set up Google Drive. So I'll transfer this file to Google Drive, and we actually have that computer to where I can Google remote in. So it's remote desktop, super simple. And what I'll do is I'll remote in from here and set all the tracks up to where the signals go the same. I'll do this here, but then when I upload it there, I'll actually send all the outs like click guide to 1 2, drums to 3 4, etc. And so I'll send that, and that way when I get there in the morning, all I've got to do is set up my keys, and tracks are already set up and loaded. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. I'm just now getting started. If there's some specific videos you'd like for me to show you on here on step by step, I plan on showing you guys how I set up the markers, why I set up the tempo track, which is key. I absolutely love the tempo track. I'll do some more videos there. And if you like this, or if there's something specifically that you'd like for me to show you guys on, just let me know.